Hi everybody, I have a little update for you. So I had a problem. So this is my cotton paper, it's just a little sample. This is the arches. And I wanted to do greeting cards, but when I folded it, the crease was never that good. And if I overfolded it, it started to fray. The watercolor paper would start to fray at the crease. So if I did it too many times, there, the paper started to deteriorate. Now, I don't know if there's a good way. Now, I don't know if there's a way to avoid that, but I don't know it right now. So, so using my cotton watercolor paper like this wasn't going to be an option. So I still wanted to do greeting cards, so I jumped on Amazon and I found something that might work. My Amazon solution was I bought card sleeves. So plastic card sleeves. This is a 100 pack of a 6x9 uh, card sleeves, plastic card sleeves. Then I bought a pack of 50 blank watercolor greeting cards, so blank, and they came with their envelopes. So 50 envelopes, 50 watercolor cards, and they don't come folded, so you have to fold them yourself, but they come with a crease. Let's see if I can pick up. They come with a crease in the middle, so they're easy to fold. The dimensions for this is 5 by 7 inches. I had a problem, and my problem was whenever I tried to fold my watercolor paper, this crease wasn't very good, and if I overfolded it, this is the Arches 100% cotton paper. It's a test piece that I have. This is just a blank test strip that I cut out for testing colors and stuff. And if I overfolded it, it would get this like ragged kind of tear. It's not a neat fold. So today I'll be testing the things that I bought. So the card sleeve, this packet fits perfectly inside. So that's a thumbs up. And these are separate. So the card sleeves are ordered separate from the 50 cards. And this came in 100 quantity. This came in 50. So I'll have sleeves left over after this project. Let's do the envelope test. Does the card fit in the envelope? It does. So call that a win. When I compare the fold, it's so nice. But compared to my fold, not so nice. So that's a win. So the only thing left is how does this watercolor paper perform? Now, I'm used to working with cotton, so paper is going to be an adjustment. I used to work with paper, but I got used to working with cotton. So let's see if we can readjust back to paper and make some pretty cards together. So this is going to be a test. This little illustration is going to be a test of this paper. If I absolutely hate it, I'm going to have to figure out a way to fold 100% cotton paper or try and find that on Amazon. So the only question now is what do I want to do? I have some paints here, some leftovers that from a prior project. So I have a green, I have some orange, I have a blue, and I have a blackish kind of color and a brownish kind of color. I also have these watercolor pencils that I wanted to try something out with. A lot of things to test here. A lot of things to test here. So I got a suggestion to instead of using my HB pencil, use a mm, harder lead pencil. With so the suggestion that I got was to use a 3H. I don't have a 3H right now, but I was able to find a 2H. So I'll be switching out my pencil that I normally use. Right, so this was a regular HB. There it is, HB. We're switching this pencil out for a 2H. So first change. Second change is when I finish sketching, and so when I'm ready to erase those lines, they should come out nicely. Another tip I got to help is to use the watercolor pencils to sketch with a combination of a harder pencil and cleaner erasing of lines, and the watercolor pencils should be good. So let's give this a whole test. So I have orange and green and blue, so I'm thinking pumpkins. First thing that came to mind is a pumpkin. So let's try. Just one big pumpkin. And I just draw him right here. So circle it first. Um, so maybe not too light because you need to see too. Oh. So the thing with the watercolor pencil suggestion is it's a good suggestion, but you cannot erase watercolor pencils. So me being a messy drawer is not going to, oh, what is that? It's not going to, oh my gosh, I have to turn it. I can't. My pencil has to be comfortable in my hand for me to draw. Sorry, guys. So I'm gonna have to turn the page. This pumpkin is already deformed. So I want a nice curve like this one is, but I can't seem to get a good angle on it. Okay, hold on. Let me move some things out the way. All right, that's better. All right, so let's erase this. Okay, that's coming out a lot better. All right, so that's a good shape, but then we need a pumpkin kind of shape. So round. Not gonna do too many of these roundy bits. Okay, that would be it. So now I am going to do the stalk. Something like that. So the way how I sketch is I just try to find a line that I like and continue with it. And then I erase it and then work on trying just continuing to find lines that I like. So I guess that's why it's hard for me to work with the watercolor pencils to draw with because I need to erase and I can't erase the watercolor pencils. Okay, so it's hard for me to find for me to commit. Oh gosh, commitment issues. This will make a good still life for her, for the Rags to Riches Sims painting. All right, let's work on those top curves. Okay. Just a real cartoony looking pumpkin drawn out of my head. Okay. So now that I have my sketch, I'm gonna try that whole uh erasing and putting down proper lines. Now I'm gonna try and find a light enough pencil um that I can use. I'm gonna use this. What is this one? Mm, Spanish orange. Spanish orange for the pumpkin part. And let me find a green. I'm gonna use a green for the stem part. Alright, wish me luck, guys. I hope I can still see this when I erase it. So I'm gonna just erase little by little. And I guess that's the beauty of using the pencils because there's no water on this to smudge anything. So just gonna go back over it. Gonna erase it. Fine. And I'm not the youngest chicken, so that could be a reason why the lines are hard to find for me. No, that site is not what it used to be, I suppose. I am also not working with natural light. So there's that too. I'm using the bulb that's above my head as my light source. Honestly, I'm kind of liking this. I am finding great joy in doing it like this. We'll see how that works out. All right. So let's change the color. Let's put back the yellow or the orange, the Spanish orange. And I'm saying these names just because if you have those colors too, you can follow along. Um, but it's just an orange or a yellow orange or a green to me. Learn to mix your colors, guys. It will open up a whole world for you, like it did for me. Okay, so this is our little orange, and let me zoom you in because there's a lot of space on this page. Did I just call that an orange pumpkin, guys? I'm sorry. It looks like a red orange. It looks more red than orange. So let me get a bigger brush and stop frustrating myself here. All right, so our trusty number 4 is what's going to be doing our work today. So I'm just putting a little bit of water in here. You can't see it because water is really clean. There's water in there. Actually you can see it just fine. All right, so there's some. So this looks to me more red than what I want the pumpkin to be. So I'm gonna need yellow. I am all yellow is in here, but I'm all out of yellow. So I'm gonna just go into my paints here. I am going to choose this one. It's been a while since I have used just yellow. All right, so let's go into that and mix. That is way too yellow. That is definitely not pumpkin orange. Oh gosh, okay. Put in a little bit more of that. Um, I think we have pumpkin orange now. I think this is a good pumpkin orange. And it kind of blends in with the color that we already have down. So let's get to work. Now, if I remember correctly, working on paper was not it wasn't as easy to put a smooth color down wet on dry paper. So I'm going to wet this paper first with, I just made a boo-boo. All right, well, lifting is easy on dry paper. It still left a little smudge, but that's okay. Let me see if it left a smudge. It worked out. You can hardly see that. All right, so let's use another dish, and my water is now a little bit yellow. I'm just adding some water here, and I'm going to wet this paper evenly. I'm gonna try. So we're gonna be doing a wet on wet, but we're going to wet our paper first. All right, so this is me trying to wet my paper. All right, here goes nothing. And we might smudge this pencil here because it is watercolor pencil. All right, so that wasn't too bad. Okay, so that looks even to my eyes. Are you seeing anything? No, not really. So I'm gonna hurry and do this since you're not really seeing much. You're just seeing the brush move. You're not really seeing the water spread. Okay, so I'm gonna do that on all of them. So this will get the area of the paper soaked with water, and I hope that will prime the paper to be able to accept my paints. Paper is a little, I find, this is me, just what I have experienced. Paper is a lot less porous than um, cotton. So whereas you can just put down a color on cotton and it goes down and it's quite happy. Paper, it will stay on the surface for a bit and not soak in. So, and then it's drying unevenly as well. So some is soaking in better. All right. So let's add our orange. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. So I'm definitely happy with wetting the paper first and then spreading the color. We're going to do the opposite on the green. So we're going to try and just put the green down first and then see what happens. Okay. Add a little bit more orange here. Spreading the color. Trying to bring that down now. Okay. And then how many layers can I do before the paper decides that it doesn't like me anymore? I just gave it a good soaking. I'm pretty sure it doesn't like that, but let's see. No, it didn't say what kind of watercolor paper, what company or anything like that. It just said watercolor paper. So far so good. I guess what I'm comparing it to is the watercolor paper at my dollar store, which is very absorbent because it's made for children. And so it whatever water you throw at it, it just soaks it up. So this one doesn't do that. Water kind of sits on the surface for a bit before it goes into the paper. And we just have to know that because these are our materials, so we have to know what our materials do. This one, I think it's too wet right now, and it is showing signs of the paper deteriorating a bit. So I'm going to just try and remove some of that water to give it a chance to dry. Just shake that up a little bit. Let's try to remove some of the water. I'm using the brush like a sponge. So wiping the brush on the tissue paper makes the tissue absorb the water, and then wiping the dry brush on the paper lets the brush absorb the water from the paper. All right, so that's the first part. Second part, this green, but I'm gonna let this dry first. So I'm gonna give this 15 minutes. Okay, guys, so I edited the video up until this point and came back. Just touching it a bit. It feels a little dry. If I turn the page and look at it this way, sorry. Do you see the outline of the pumpkin? Hey, please ignore the shadow. You see that, right? Let me see if I can point to it with a pencil. Yeah. All right, so that outline there, that's the pumpkin. So it has buckled in a bit. So I don't know. For me, looking at this with just one layer of water on, I don't know how many layers we can get through before this starts to look really bad. But we'll see. Let's do the stem now. I'm gonna mix this green, so hold on a sec. So I have some blue here from a prior painting that I was doing. And so it already has some water in it. I'm just gonna add this green to it because it's really a powerful green. I need back that paper so I can kind of compare what green is on it right now with what I'll be putting on. So what do we have right now? I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Okay, so where am I gonna put this for it to be comfortable for us? Let's put it there. Let's start. So with this down here, we'll wet the paper first, and it came out really nice. Now we're just gonna try and apply that green straight to the stem. What I think will happen here is we're gonna have to work it in a bit. I'm just going back and forth with the brush to kind of just try and work it in a bit. You know what? It's not behaving badly at all. It's working. It's not what I expected it to fight me, but it's not fighting me. Meaning leaving blotches and not going on evenly. But it's actually not bad. Huh? A little bit surprised. Okay. So both techniques will work. Applying it straight to dry paper and trying to get an even wash. Just be patient with it, I guess. All right. I gave it like maybe 5 minutes, and then now I'm gonna do another layer of green. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm just going to assume that it's not completely dry. Just start. Just check it if I was recording. You know how it is sometimes. You think you're recording, but you're not. You're actually just talking to yourself. All right, so this is the second layer. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Now I'm gonna let this whole thing dry and I'm going to try and figure out how to decorate this pumpkin card. So my final thoughts is not bad. I can definitely see us making a few cards together. So let's do that. I'll see you in the next one.